Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live today from the studios of Talk, Love, and Communication. I believe that all problems, circumstances, situations can be resolved through the proper channels of love and communication. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Michael Webb-Cullen. He's going to share some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding how he's helping the youth in our community to mature and to flourish, to be productive citizens throughout life. We only have one life to live, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole lot easier with love and communication. Okay, we're going to give my special guest a round of applause today. Thanking him for joining us. Okay, Mr. Cullen, how you doing today, sir? You doing all right?
Yes, sir, I'm doing all right. Appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to hang out with you today, brother.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure, man. You know, when we do great things in the community, I believe that we should be rewarded and recognized. You know, you want to tell my audience a little bit about yourself, sir?
Yes, sir. Well, my name once again is Michael Webb-Cullen. I'm 46 years old. Was born in Jersey, but been here since I was 6, so you could say I'm a Florida native.
Okay.
Went to school here, graduated from Forest High School, class of 95. Yep. I'm married, been married for 15 years, have 5 children, have 3 grandchildren. So yeah.
That's right, man. Ain't nothing like a wildcat, man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I'm a graduate in 1992, baby. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, man. So tell us about the things you're doing in the community, sir. You know.
Okay, well, actually, I do quite a few different things, but really what I wanted to focus on today was the Foundation Youth Barber Academy, something that recently we started earlier part of this year, and just trying to get it out there to people. It's an opportunity for youth to have something that's a skill set that can last them a lifetime, you know, as they continue to grow in the process. And so just to kind of give a little idea of what it's all about, it's a mentorship program, but we use the avenue of the art of barbering to teach the young people. So it's a 4 to 7 week process, but the classes are in 2 different phases. So we have a first phase where they get the introduction to barbering. They get to learn some history of barbering, you know, sanitation and all kinds of different things like that. How to apply neck strip and how to drape the client and just different things that they learn. Mm-hmm. And then in the second phase, they get more hands-on to where they get to cut mannequins, and sometimes we have live demos in there and different things like that they get the opportunity to do. So it's an awesome program. I just finished up my 2nd class, getting ready for the 3rd class, which starts September 10th. So we're trying to get people signed up for that class right now as we speak.
Okay, tell my audience, how do someone get involved and how do they sign up and be a part of this program, sir?
Well, they can sign up through either contacting me. My number is 352-426-7852, or they can email. And once again, that's 352-426-7852, Michael Webb-Cullen. And they can email me at firmfoundationyouthbarber@gmail.com. That's firmfoundationyouthbarber@gmail.com.
To my audience, I want y'all to get these kids involved, man. It's a great trade to have, man. And I've never seen a broke barber in my life, man. I mean, you making cash every day, homie. You know what I mean? So give my main man a call, man. Y'all look out, man, and support the cause, man. And it's a great asset, you know. So tell me what caused you to start this program. What's your passion? How did it begin?
Okay, well, I came a barber later in life compared to most of the people I've been around. I've been a barber for 5 years now. Remember I told you I'm 46, so I was like right at 40 when I started. But one of the good things about being a barber is there's no time restraint, meaning where sometimes you go and work on a job to start out at 40, that don't even make sense. Right. You see what I'm saying? But with barbering, because there's no time restraint, you could start at 18, 16, you could start at 30, it doesn't really matter. You see what I'm saying? It's a fresh start. But what led me to start this program was, for one, we're always talking about giving the youth things to do to keep them out of trouble. And so for one, I'm like, well, I'm a barber. Why not utilize the gift that I have to instill it in the next generation?
That's correct.
And so what happened was, this was an idea in my head, but then I started following a young gentleman up in PA. And when I started following him, I was like, oh man, this is what I want to do. And so he had a program a lot like this one. And so I connected with him, and his name is Michael Boone, and his school is Junior Barber Academy up in PA. And he'd been doing it for a while, so I connected with him, and we set up to where I did a paid mentorship with him. So basically what he did was he walked me through the process of getting the business up and going and what it looked like, the behind the scenes stuff of getting the business set up, the systems, all different kinds of things, just to kind of, get it up and running.
So as far as the kids, is it a fee to get in this class, or is it something that?
Yes, sir, it is. If they do the first phase, the first 4 weeks, and they decide that's all they want to do, is $200. If they do both phases, then it's $300 total. So you get anywhere between the 4 and 7 weeks, between $200 and $300. But the thing about it is, it's not like once the class is done, they're finished. Because what happens is, what I'm doing is I'm building a community.
Correct.
So as each class, like I told you, I've just finished my second class. So that's 2 different sets of boys and girls that are able to come together. And so sometimes I have vendor events where I go out in the community and promote the school. I have some of them come to the come to the event, and they'll help me pass out flyers and tell other people about the class. So that's a form of mentorship, because I'm teaching them social skills, because they're talking with other individuals about what's going on.
And in barbering, in any type of service that you're doing, hospitality is important. The way you interact
absolutely
with your customers is very important. And that's, so you're not only teaching them barber skills, you're also teaching them life skills also, sir.
Yes, and that's where the mentorship comes in, and that's why I want people to understand we utilize barbering, but barbering is not the all-in goal. You see what I'm saying? So it's like my thought process is, I feel like any youth can benefit from this program, whether they want to become a barber or not. Now, and I can tell you too, I used to work for Publix, and anybody that's worked for Publix, or just if you shop, that what do they pride on? Customer service.
That's right.
So I gotta say that a lot that I learned too from working for Publix, I implement into my lifestyle, whether it's a barber or a teacher or whatever it is, so those are things that I'm keenly aware of, and I'm, teaching others to do that.
And it's amazing how we go through life and we pick up a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and we become this mature adult. And that's with all things, you gain what's profitable to you, and you cast the rest of it aside. But it's step upon step,
yes,
block upon block. When you build a home, and eventually you have the perfect home, which is yourself. What I mean? You agree with that, sir?
Yes, and it'd be funny that you mention that, because the name Firm Foundation is predicated on pretty much what you were just saying. Because this was a God's vision that He gave me. So when I was asking him what the name was going to be, firm foundation is what came up. In the scripture, Matthew 7:24, well, verse 24 through 25, where it just talks about the house that's built. You know, when the rain and the storms and the winds, all that comes against it, you know what I'm saying? Will it stand or will it fall based on what it's built upon? So that's where firm foundation comes from. It's built upon Christ. So at the end of the day, it's going to stand and it's going to produce that fruit that it's set out to do.
It kind of, when you was talking about, you know, the house and the wind and the storm, it made me think about the big bad wolf, you know.
Yes.
You know, blowing
blowing the house down.
That's right. What is your house built out of?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's important to have a foundation in anything in life.
Yes.
You know, in marriage and in all type of relationships, you know. Sometimes my wife say, you know, she loved me. I say, well, it takes more than love because I was married before and I loved her. You know, but before I didn't know Jesus. See, this marriage is based upon Jesus.
Yes, sir.
When we have a disagreement, well, let's go see what Jesus said about it. You know what I mean? So I ain't wrong. So you telling Jesus he wrong? You know, and that's so important. It's so important to have that foundation.
Yes.
A firm foundation.
Yes, sir.
In any aspect of your life. So did this vision, so you have this alone, you are the sole founder of this organization, sir?
I am, but the vision itself was coincide with a gentleman that I had met some years ago. Well, not some years ago, like a year or two ago. Michael Boone, he's out of PA. And so I followed him for a while and seen what he was doing, and I connected with him, and we started a paid mentorship that just really helped me to get the organization up to where it is right now.
And who are you targeting? A specific age group or specific?
Yes, sir. We are targeting ages 10 to 17, typically. Yes.
Male or female?
Male or female. Yes. We had our first female barber student this past class.
Okay, and at the end of this program, is there a certificate or something that they can show forth that they completed this? Is it count as a trade?
Okay.
Are they certified?
Well, at the end of the course, they will receive a certificate, but it's not a certificate as if they are licensed, because we're not licensing anyone based on what they learn. What this is this class is an exposure class. So it exposes them to the art of barbering. So then they can decide, hey, if they want to go into barbering, then we connect them to the local schools in the area. If they don't, then they learn the skill set, and, you know, they can go on with and try to figure out what else they want to do.
Is there things that you can educate my audience on when it comes to barbering, like as far as hair care, to how can they take care of their hair and their skin in a better way? Is there certain products that you recommend, anything of that nature, sir?
Well, there's a lot of good products out there, and it really just depends on, for one, the cost that somebody's willing to pay, and then two, depending on, you know, what texture of hair or anything like that. So, I mean, that's something that's kind of broad scale. You could throw some suggestions out, but as far as to be like, oh yeah, this is the one to use, you know, not necessarily. It depends. Now, if a person was in front of me, then we could have that conversation, and I could give them some recommendations.
Hey, in order to be a barber, man, you got to be down with the latest trends, man. You know what I mean? It keeps you young, huh?
Yeah. Yes,
you know,
sir.
You interact with the kids, you know, and you know, people get very, very personal about their hair now.
Oh, they definitely do.
Especially that tape. What's the most important part of the haircut? Is it the edge? What they call the tape nowadays?
Yeah, or the lineup, yeah.
The lineup, or is it the haircut itself?
Well, I would say both, but I think the lineup solidifies the haircut. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had just a haircut, no matter how fresh it looks and, you know, how blended it is, at the end of the day, if that lineup ain't right, it's going to show. That's like your outline.
Man, shout out to my Uncle Raymond Johnson, man.
Yes.
Big Butt Barber, man, in Ocala for a long time. I ain't never really had to pay for a haircut all my life, man.
Yeah, he used to cut my hair.
Yeah,
when I had hair.
Shout out to Unc, man. I love you, bro.
Definitely.
But you know, speaking of barbers, you know, I learned a lot from him. The work ethic.
Yes.
You know, the tape, you know, and nowadays when I see a lot of people, barbers, now they have a tendency to push the hairline. The hairline is nice. You know, when Steve Harvey came out, everybody trying to get a Steve Harvey tape. But they cut into the hair. You know, and you can if you can see a big old white line, that skin that was never exposed. So I mean, the edge look good now, but in a week when it's growing back and you got an inch worth of hair, I mean, he cut into your hairline. You know, what's the importance of that, and how do you prevent that? You know.
Well, the biggest thing is to, you know, pay attention to their natural hairline, and you try to keep it as natural as possible. Usually, when people push back, it's sometimes, to be honest with you, when they push back, the client wants you to push back. I've had clients come be like, I want you to go back a little bit. I'd be like, are you sure? You know, but it's their head. So at the end of the day, you give them what they want. But then the other times when you just kind of push back because you're trying to get that real crispy look, it's not necessary. You know, you want to keep it as natural as possible.
Or you trying to correct another barber's mistake.
And that could be a possibility too, yes. Yes.
I mean, a lot of barbers, you know, you come to a guy over and over and you go off to get another, you know, you do all the hard work to finally get it right. And that's something, it's kind of like growing plant or something, growing a garden. You know, when you finally, you don't done all this laboring, you know, to get it, you want to see it come to fruition. You want to see it come to pass to where this guy has an excellent tape, man. So when, you know, when they ask him, hey, where did you get your hair cut? Who cuts your hair? When they say Michael Webb-Cullen, you want that thing to be on time, huh?
Yes, sir. Well, and you know, sometimes, like, when it comes to the lineup, what I would do, like if it's somebody I cut for the first time and their lineup might be a little off, I'll explain to them. I'll be like, look, this is what's going on. Now, this is what I'm going to do. So it might not look as crispy because maybe they got to let it grow back in. You get what I'm saying? So you kind of work with the situation according to what it is.
That's right.
And I think people take more to that when you explain to them that rather than you just doing your own thing.
Communication is key.
Yes, yes.
Communication is key to any type of relationship. Business, personal, professional. I believe that with my whole heart that communication is so important.
Yes, sir.
And you make them feel a part of it. You make them feel involved, which is rare. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And show hospitality. You know, teach them the ways. You know, you want to make a person feel comfortable and relax. It's another place I walk in. I think it's 7-Eleven. All of them, all the employees will speak to you immediately. You know what I mean? It's noticeable. You understand what I'm saying? You know, hospitality will go a long ways.
It definitely does.
So when you, you know, cutting hair and getting into the kids, you know, and being around the youth, and you know, in the barbershop, that's where all the conversation go down.
Yes.
So what do you do about the, you know, the old saying, if you want to know anything, you just go to the barbershop. What do you think about that?
I think it still holds true. Yeah, we talk about some of everything. Yeah, we're not only a barber, we're a therapist, cheerleader. You know, we got many roles.
So have you watched the movie Barbershop? So out of all of the members, all the cast members on Barbershop, which one is more like your character?
Oh, man. I don't know. Probably Calvin.
Probably Calvin, huh? I feel you on that, man. You know what I mean? So with this program, you know, you got a hat here. Let's so you actually work. So where do you cut hair at, sir?
Urban Styles Beauty and Barbershop.
You got an address, you know, to shoot my audience?
Yes, sir. 2620 Southwest 17th Road, Suite 100.
Okay, show them the hat, man. Show them what time it is, man.
Yeah, this
shout out, man, to Urban Style, man.
That's right. Come on, you get urbanized.
That's right, man. These guys are great. You're doing great things, man. These guys done a donation to this podcast, man. They helped me advance this platform to be able to show you guys, bring you guys this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So we want to always show some love, man. When back to school came, man, these guys cut the kids' hair for free, man. They had backpack. Great man, man. We got Michael Webb-Cullen, Derek Palmer, man. These great men, man. We got Al Denmark.
Rob Williams,
man.
Lamar
Shout out
Cockrell.
to these guys, man.
Yep.
Great atmosphere, man. You know what I mean? So go and show them some love, man. Get your hair cut, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so so you also have Cullen Cuts and Designs. So explain that to me, sir.
That's my business, my barber business itself. That's that's who I am.
Right.
So when I promote myself under Cullen Cuts and Designs, but I work under Urban Styles Barbershop.
Okay. But your personal organization is Cullen Cuts and Designs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to show some love? Show my audience what it look like, man. Straight up, man. I mean, that's real, man. It's important that we support each other, man,
Yes,
and uplift each other. Because this man is also giving back to our community. He's teaching our youth, giving them an opportunity to learn a skill set that can make them productive members. They want, and also to be their own business owners one day.
Yep.
That's very important. As long as we have people on this earth, we're going to need a barbershop.
And can I tell you something when you talk about that? When you mention business owner, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a shop. Because as a barber yourself, if you're not getting paid commission, if you're getting paid, like if you're just paying booth rent and you're working for yourself, then you work for yourself.
That's right.
So that means you are your own business. Like I just said, Cullen Cuts and Designs, that's my own business, even though I work under a shop. So that's what, the youth need to understand. Yeah, when you come out the gate, when you get your license, you pretty much, are on your own. You're like self-employed.
That's
exactly.
Right.
Yes.
That's correct. So let's talk about Michael Cullen, the man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many siblings do you have, sir?
I have 5. I had to think about it.
You got 5 siblings.
Yes.
And where do you fall at in the chain?
In the middle.
Oh Lord. They said those are the favorites, huh? What you think?
I don't know about that. I think we all favorable when we're in the presence of our parents.
And what's the single most important lesson you learned from your parents?
The importance of a relationship with Christ.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a great honor. Your parents should be very proud of you, for you to, when you think of them, that's the single most important thing that you learn from them is a relationship with Christ. And how important is your relationship with Christ, sir?
It's very important. Very important.
How have you changed from being a parent yourself? Like your life before you start having kids. What was the main difference since you have become a parent? How have they changed your life being a parent?
Well, for one, I would say when I became a parent, it taught me the importance of responsibility. Because when you're on your own, sometimes we tend to just run and do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it. But then when you got responsibility, it makes a shift in you. It's like, oh, I got somebody else I got to take care of, so I can't be doing the stuff that I used to do. You know what I'm saying? I got to make sure that they're taken care of.
Sacrifice.
Yes.
You sacrifice yourself for those who you love and you care about.
Yes.
And that's very important in life. Nowadays a lot of people don't like to make sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like self. It's all about me.
Yes.
If it don't benefit me, it ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when you think about love and how love fit into the family structure, how would you describe love into the family structure?
Once again, unconditional. I mean, it's like you can't have a real family structure without having love in it. I think the problem is that many of us have not really been taught what love is. So that's why a lot of times our families struggle. Because like you said earlier, love it's an action. So it requires something of you giving.
That's right.
You know, you got to give up yourself for the betterment of somebody else.
And you know, when we think about love in the totality, you know, you say you are a man of God.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship with Christ, have it taught you to love differently?
Yes, sir. It has.
Would you care to elaborate?
Well, for one, when you understand how Christ loved us and we're to be representations of Christ, that in itself tells us the importance of how we love. Because he loved to the point where he laid down his life for us.
That's
so
right.
We're to do the same for one another. We got to lay down some things.
Tell me some of the most influential people in your life that helped you become the man that you are today.
First, I'd say my dad, my father-in-law, my previous pastor, Dr. Tony Evans.
Yeah, I see you post Dr. Tony Evans. He don't even play, man.
Yeah.
Dr. Tony Evans, man. Shout out to Dr. Tony Evans, man. You want to hear the word given to you straight up, man?
Yes, sir.
He ain't no shortcuts.
And he don't play by those men.
You Google Dr. Tony Evans, man.
Mm-hmm.
Great man of God, man. I can vouch for that there. I consider him to be a true man of God, you know.
Yes, sir.
Which is hard to find nowadays, you know. We got a lot of people playing church, you know. But what is your most fondest memory as a child?
Most fondest?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You got me on that. I don't know. Maybe when I was younger and I went to Disney World.
Oh yeah, you a Mickey Mouse man, or what the other one name? Goofy or
Pluto. I don't know, to be honest with you, but yeah, it was just the experience, you know, because when you're younger, it's like Disney World is one of those places like you just, you know, always hear about, and you know, just seems to have this excitement, yeah. You know, so it's like, oh, you just can't wait to go do it, you know.
When I finally went, the hype didn't.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It didn't, but it was like one of the fondest memories when I was younger, you know. Yeah.
What are you most proudest of in this world?
What am I most proudest of in this world?
The wife and the kids?
Yeah. I was thinking deep, like, my bad. But yeah, definitely the family.
Yeah, you know, it's so many things and so many directions that life could take us.
Yeah.
Like you say, you know, you was born in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You came to Florida. Mm-hmm. You know, you ever thought, you know, sometime your life you could have lived in Jersey. You could have never came to Florida. Mm-hmm. You know, even like you have 5 beautiful kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Your wife, you know, just think about when you met her. God, this plan for these kids that's here today, God had this plan. He seen it. Mm-hmm. When you saw her and she saw you and whoever decided to step to who, I mean, he knew what would take place. You know what I mean? How important is it to have the right woman in your life?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, ask people that don't have the right one. Yes. You know, but yeah, it's very important. It helps you to get to what you're trying to get to and to be who you need to be. You know, when you have somebody that's really got your back.
Who would you like to be remembered as? When someone think of Michael Cullen, you want them to remember you as what?
I would say someone that would probably do anything for you. You know, just try to help you through whatever you're going through. Just be there, the encourager. That's what I would say.
Do you have any regrets?
No, because I've learned even the things that I might, you know, not be proud of or whatever. All of it's a lesson. You know, lesson learned.
You know, when you think of me as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
when you first met me, what were your thoughts?
It's a great brother right here. You know, you could just tell from your energy, how you move, you know, how you talk, like you're sincere about what you're doing, you know, and that's something that, you know, when we see one another like that, we got to be willing to, you know, come alongside and partner with each other and, you know, advance, you know what I'm saying, the love, you know, because we're in days now where, you know, love just seems to be thrown on the back burner, you know. It's more hate and stuff like that than anything. So we got to let that love shine.
And, you know, and some people think that it's cliche to say I love you. You know, sometimes we toss the word around, but, you know, true, genuine love, man, you could just, like you say, it's an energy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel it. You know, we all have a certain spirit of discernment where we could decipher between, if your heart is pure.
Mm-hmm.
See, only you know you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So if I know that, if I have bad vibes toward you, I know within myself, is that me or is that you?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a man that constantly see life as my glass is half full. If I have an 8-ounce glass with 4 ounces of water, it's in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I can say it's half empty or it's half full.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's a great experiment. If you try that, depending on that answer, you could tell a person's outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a half full kind of man. I choose to see the best in everything and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you show me otherwise, until I get to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I wipe the dust off my feet and go on to the next city.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I don't love you.
Yeah.
I still wish. That doesn't mean that I have to wish harm upon you.
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, you want to elaborate on that, sir?
Well, I agree with you. You know, that's like optimism versus pessimism. You know, to see someone, you know, you want to believe the best in them. You know, so that's a great thing to have. You know, because a lot of times people will think the worst. You know, so you talking about the glass being half empty and the glass being full. It's really perception. You know,
right.
how you see it. You
That's
know,
right.
doesn't necessarily mean either one is right or wrong. You know.
You know, you spoke of Christ giving you this vision for this organization that you're going to help these kids. You know, and how have your faith helped you to evolve as a man?
Ask it again.
How have your faith helped you evolve? You know, how have you grown from your faith, you know, in the things that you believe in, the things you want to accomplish in life? How have your faith helped you to grow in areas that you might have been slacking in previously?
I would say through life experiences. You know, faith is everything when it comes to our relationship with Christ. You know, it says without faith it's impossible to please God. So we have to exercise faith, you know, but a lot of times, you know, our faith is tested, but it's tested to make us stronger, to give us endurance, to build up our character. So when we go through things, you know, that should strengthen our faith muscles. So it's definitely over the years, my faith has been stretched, you know, but I've seen God do many things in my life, my family's life, and others around me, you know. So it's holding on to those things that you've seen Him bring you through, to know whatever it is that you're going through, you know, you'll get through.
You know, and now that you have this organization that you're starting here, you know, when you think, now that you're a teacher, you know, you went, you know, it was a time where you had to learn. Like you say, you learned later in life, and you became from a student to a professional, and now you're a teacher. What's the greatest aspect to being a successful teacher? Because everyone who have a skill set can't teach.
Mm-hmm.
What is the greatest contribute to being a great teacher?
I would say, to me, it's when you see the cycle, when you see it go round, meaning someone comes to you, they learn from you, and then you see them go forth and produce fruit from it. So now they're, they learned that skill and they're actually walking in it. So to me, that's one of the things that, now I haven't seen that yet because I've just started, but that's one of my goals is to see that cycle back around.
And that's important, to be able to, see the kids prosper. Some kids learn at a different pace.
Yes.
And when you're teaching kids, sometimes because you are an adult, we have to be mindful that they will agree and say they understand when they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have the ability to be able to, I believe in when I'm dealing with a child or a young adult, I ask them to repeat it back to me. Explain to me what I just said.
That's effective communication.
That's
absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Do you find yourself having to do that, especially with it,
Well, not just that, but also when it comes to learning, we teach, we show, and then we do.
Mm-hmm.
So we teach them whatever it is we're teaching them. Then we show it to them. Then we have them do it with us, and then they do it on their own.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So we're going to play a game called Fill in the Blank.
Okay.
I'm going to let my audience get to know you as a man. I'm going to ask you some questions. You ask them quickly, precisely. And the first thing come to mind, we're going to see, what we got for them, okay?
Okay.
Okay, sir. I've always wanted to
go to Hawaii.
Yeah. That ain't changed, sir.
No, sir. I'm going to get there.
I love when someone
appreciates me.
If I had to do it all over again, I would
go to barbering school earlier.
That's right. My favorite holiday is
Christmas.
It aggravates me when people
don't do what they say they're going to do.
The best quality someone can have is
a caring heart.
If I was God, the first thing I would do is
if I was God?
If you was God, the first thing you would do is
make everyone love each other.
Your childhood crush was
my wife.
Small answer.
But true.
My favorite movie is
Coming to America.
Jesus is
love.
If I could go back to any age, it would be
10.
Why 10?
First number came to my head.
If you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would you say?
I would say pay attention and go for what you want to do in life.
When I meet someone, the first thing I notice is
demeanor.
If I could ask God any question, what would it be?
Why does sin exist?
Why does sin exist? Okay, if the happiest moment of my life was
happiest moment of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Put me on the spot then, bro. It's a lot of them, but the happiest moment of my life. Let's say when I got married.
When I was growing up, my nickname was
Black boy.
So when you walking and you hear somebody yell black boy, you know they from the childhood, huh?
Yeah. Or Webby.
Or Webby.
Yeah.
So your name is Michael
Webb-Cullen.
Mm-hmm. So you got the hyphen and the Cullen. How does that come in?
Good question. I was waiting for you to ask that. Okay, so little backstory. I didn't know my dad all my life. I met him when I was 30-something years old. And so when I met him, my last name was Webb. Mm-hmm. That's my mom's last name. And so when I met him and got to know him and everything, I knew the importance of, name, the last name, especially with the male seed. So I didn't take the Webb off, but I hyphenated and added the Cullen on. So I guess in a sense you could say I kept them both. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's where the two last names come from.
Me myself, I didn't meet my father until I was like 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. My parents was young, in New Jersey, come back to Florida. Mm-hmm. He just didn't know, he was a kid, she was a kid. Mm-hmm. They're in Florida. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How did it affect your life? Even though we have step parents, mm-hmm. but we know that man is not our father. Mm-hmm. How did that affect your life in a positive and a negative way?
Well, I would say how it affected my life. For many years, I didn't know that my stepdad wasn't my real dad. I was under the impression he was, because that was the only dad I knew growing mm-hmm. up. So it wasn't until I found out, about my real dad that then I realized he wasn't. But what I learned was I started reflecting back on like how he treated me. Because even though I was the only child, I guess the fact that he knew I wasn't his, it didn't sit right with him. So he treated me very, very harsh over the years. So yeah, I would say it was just one of those things, man. Like, I reflected back like, now I see why he treated me the way he did. I thought he just was, a harsh person, but I think looking back, he was going through whatever pain he was dealing with, And sometimes, you really don't know the story of your parents and stuff and why they do. But I can tell you, like, even when I met my dad, I didn't have no ill will towards him, like where you was all my life or nothing, because, looking back, man, I just know that it was the grace of God that, kept me. I got in trouble and stuff like that growing up, but I know that God kept me, to be able to grow up, to have my own children, to father them, even when I didn't necessarily know how to be a father. You get what I'm saying? But I think with that being said, one of the biggest things we have to do is be there for our children.
You think from you not having your father, so at what point in your life, how many children did you have by the time you found out that, when you met your real father, your biological father?
By then I had 3.
And you think growing up without your father help you to become a better father, help you cling to them more?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if it helped me to cling to them, but I think it just made me more aware that I needed to be there.
See, with me, by me meeting my father at 12, 13, mm-hmm. so now I had knowledge of it. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A great man, once he met me, because it the separation was not due to his, it wasn't at neither one of them fault.
Yeah.
It wasn't nobody's fault. There was
mm-hmm.
kids.
Yeah. Same thing.
What I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if the grandmother in Florida say send my daughter home, you send her home. She's a kid, he's a kid, you know, and they didn't have, you know. But the point is, and the man that raised me is great. You know what I mean? Right now to the day, what's up, pops? You know what I'm saying? But it's the fact, like you say, you know that it's not your father, and it's something within us that want to know who and where we come from.
Yeah, you know,
because you can never understand yourself until you know who and where you come from. This man didn't raise me, but I'm so much like this man.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because, man, some of the hardest times I had in life was Father's Days. Like, for one, when my stepdad passed away, he passed away, I think I was like 13. He passed away. So at that point, I didn't have no father figure. And so thinking about that, it was just like, man, just crazy. You know what I'm saying? It just,
you know, as we sit here, we're both men, and I believe that a lot of our youth are so angry and so frustrated and so built up. You know, we raised to be tough. You know, to stop crying, suck it up. I don't want to hear that. Don't be whining. Stop acting like a little girl. You know what I mean? So we are taught to mask our pain and our old trauma. You know, and a lot of times it goes back to where really the essence of our pain comes from mama. The decisions that mama made. But we love mama so much. And we can't be mad at mama because it's mama. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we take that out and we get other relationships and we take it out on other people. Sometimes our significant other and so forth. So you didn't find out. You didn't find out your real father until after your stepfather had passed. Correct?
Yes.
And years later.
Yeah, many years later.
and why is that? How did you find out?
Well, how I found out was I had took a visit to Jersey and was visiting my aunt and some family up there. And me and my aunt, she's that aunt like
keep it real.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so we're just having a little casual conversation and she was just like, "Hey, did you find out about your dad?" And so I'm like sitting there like, what is she talking about? Like, my stepdad been gone like many years ago.
Who
like,
you thought was dead?
Yeah. So I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, your mom never told you? Like, what? So then she say, yeah, that was not your dad. I was like, what? So now what happened was, and I'm gonna try to give you a short story. What happened was, now I got this information and I don't feel like my aunt's gonna lie to me. You know, so it's like, okay, what do I do with this information? So I want to ask my mom, but I'm like, I'm taking consideration of her feelings at this point. Like, if she didn't tell me all this time, it might be a reason. So I don't know if I want to open this box. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, this one, I'm gonna take this place. It's good. Go ahead.
So I didn't want to open this box. And so now like I'm like back and forth in my head. Do I ask? Do I don't ask? And so time went by like a year or so before I even said anything. So now I got this weight on my shoulder because I want to know, but I don't know how to approach it. And so at the time, I had a men's ministry and we had a service and the Holy Spirit was like, this night is going to be like a release for somebody. So we having a service and I'm like, does anybody, want to, give a testimony or anything, trying to see which way this service is going. And so nobody ain't say nothing. So I came forth and I talked about, what my aunt told me, the same thing I just told you a few minutes ago, And so one of the brothers just like said, it's time to find out. And so it wasn't who said it as much as it was them words resonating with my spirit. You see what I'm saying? And so I was like, yeah. And so God is amazing, because at this time, my mom is actually living with us. So it ain't like I had far to go to her. You know what I'm saying? She living with us. So I can have this conversation face to face, not over no phone or nothing like that.
The devil ain't got time to say no, don't, you know.
Yeah. So on the drive home, I'm like, okay. And at this time, my wife and daughter was out of town. So they weren't home. And my little brother, he stayed with us, but he wasn't home. And so it was just me and her. So when I got home, you know, I prayed on the way home, like, Lord, give me the words to say, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But when I got home, you know, we started off a little casual conversation. Then I just asked her, I said, Mom, can I ask you a question? She said, yeah. I said, was Teddy my dad? That was my stepdad. And she say, no. Just like that. And so I say, well, who's my real dad? And she told me, but then even then, it was like a while before I got to meet him, because she told me, but what can I do with that?
Right.
Like, I could have, social media, I could have looked his name up, but I don't know who I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he looks like. I've never seen, you know, a day in my life. So it was one of them things where it's like, okay, what now? So time went by. So eventually my aunt, because my mom wound up moving to Jersey, and she was around my aunt, and my aunt just encouraged her to go ahead and, you know, reach out to my dad, find out how to reach out to my dad, and you know, let him know. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so she did that. Fast forward, and eventually I was able to receive my first call from him. It was on actually on Thanksgiving one year, and yeah, it's been a connection ever since.
And how did it make you feel? You know, how did it make you feel that it was withheld from you?
You know, like I told you earlier, I didn't feel like upset. I had questions, and I asked them over a period of time, and then after that, let it be, you know. But I didn't have like resentment or anything.
Was he aware that you was his son?
No, he wasn't.
And you know, that happens so often that we can't fathom.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, this mama, the person you love more than anybody in the world. So if mama could do it, you understand what I'm saying? The old saying is mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's sad because the bloodline is so important.
Yeah.
The lineage is so important.
Yeah.
There's so many children that have another man's name, and the mother knows
that it ain't. Yeah.
That's not that. So it's whole generations with another man's name.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's so important, and I just think that
we don't understand, especially from a male seed perspective. We don't understand the power of name, the last name. You know, it's not just a name; it carries on. The woman can't carry the name on.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, when we don't have the right name, yeah.
And you know, in the beginning, you know how we, you know, how we came to the United States. So we already going through that situation. Mm-hmm. And then when we get to the point to where we, you know, it has been some stability, so to speak. Mm-hmm. You know, Robinson, Smith. And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? We have to understand the importance. And I think that's where communication comes in there. And we have to educate our women on the importance of that. Mm-hmm. Because like you say, you know, my daughters one day were married. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I always tell my daughters, okay, when you get married, your name is such and such Robinson, whatever his name is. You always hold on to that Robinson in there, you know what I mean? To be remembered. Mm-hmm. Because if you have a daughter, when she get married to her husband, her husband, and all the children have his last name.
Mm-hmm.
It's no one to carry on your name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important. And I commend you, sir, for taking on your father's last name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because, you know, before someone was telling me, well, his name is Webb. All through school, his name is Webb.
Yeah.
Well, where does Cullen come from?
Yeah.
And that's so important. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too, because obviously everybody that knew me, and that's why it was hard for me to just take off the Webb and put on Cullen, because it wasn't like I was a child when I found this out. I'm 30-something years old. I done lived a good little piece of my life. So to just totally change my name, you know, it just...
and that says a lot about your character, you know, and your understanding and your mental makeup. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of times, man, I'm straight, man. All this time I've been going through it. I'm straight now. I don't need that junk man bump there or whatever. But it is important.
It is.
It is. And even to be able to share this story and this testimony,
yes, sir,
is very important. And I commend you, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. But, and, you know, and going back to the whole, you know, male seed and everything, you know, you were talking about the women, you know, sometimes not wanting to give the male the last name, you know, but as male, we have to make sure that we are doing what we need to do, not just have the last name, but be taking care of them.
That's right.
You know, so, yeah, we got a responsibility.
That's right. And it is important for fathers.
Whether we're with the mama or not.
And, you know, a lot of times it falls into the co-parenting. You know, the mother and the father can't get along, but you must come together to agree to at least understand that we want our child to be in this direction. So let's come to an understanding and set our indifferences aside.
It's called being grown.
That's right.
Being mature.
Being adults.
You know, okay, we didn't work out. That's not the children's fault.
That's right.
Yeah.
Children didn't ask to be here.
But we still got to take care of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, both parents are dual. It's 50-50. You know, without the egg, the child wouldn't be here. Without the sperm, it wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
We both did our part. You only carrying the child for 9 months because that's the way God made it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you didn't want to go through that pain and suffering.
Yeah.
If God would have made it where a man had to carry the child, I would have carried the child.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your child and not my child. Mm-hmm. Brian Damon, and he spoke on the importance of co-parenting. Mm-hmm. And that's so very important. Mm-hmm. What is your take on that, sir?
Well, first I want to back up and just kind of hit back on what you said about the 50-50. And let's clarify that. And so, no, it's not 50-50. It's 100-100. Because we're not both giving half of ourselves. We're giving our whole selves. So, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yeah. But as far as co-parenting, I mean, obviously, it's not what God ordained. He never ordained for, you know, a marriage to split or two people to come together and produce a child, you know, out of wedlock. You know what I'm saying? But these things happen.
Correct.
So now once it's happened, yeah, we need to figure out the best way to
rectify the problem.
Make that blended family work.
That's right.
Because now we're blended. That's what we are. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not impossible, but both people have to be mature enough to, you know, like you said earlier, put aside their differences and do what's best for the child. You know, because a child can come from a blended family and be all that they need to be if he or she is nurtured properly. You know what I'm saying? And taken care of properly. So whether they're, you know, happen to go weekends over here and, you know, rotate, you know what I'm saying, custody or whatever, you know, but at the end of the day, it's really with how the parents set it up. Right. You know?
All right, this is the part of the show. We play a game called AMA, which is where you, Michael Webb-Cullen, get to ask me anything.
Ask you anything?
You ask me anything.
All right. How long you been married?
I've been married for 7 years.
Okay.
My wife married me when I was in prison. I had basically 6 years left. I've been married, is it 8 years? 2016?
7.
So that's 7 years. You know, I had 5 years left, so I've been home for almost 2 years.
Okay.
So she married me while I was in prison, and I've been home for 2 years. So I've been married 7 years, sir.
Okay. Where do you see the podcast going for you? What's your vision?
You know, the sky's the limit. You know, there's so many things I would like to do. I would love to, I plan on being able to receive phone calls from prisoners. So prisoners can call and give their testimony and their, you know, their outlook on things, so the youth can hear it. And they can understand that what life is like after you make these bad decisions. You know what I mean? And also there's a lot of prisoners in there lost, you know, and they hurt, and sometimes they come out in a worse state than they were when they went in, due to they don't feel love. You know, their family sometimes in bad situations. You know, they can't call home. The grandmother don't have the income to put money on the phone. So I would be able to mend these two. I would be able to receive calls from the family members and teach them and show them how to get in contact. Because sometimes the prison system is hard to understand what to do to get in contact with your relative. So I would be like a mediator to be able to mend families and be able to maybe get something going where I go into the prisons and have a bus where you can, certain people from certain regions, because they have a tendency that if you from Miami, they ship you in the Panhandle 6-7 hours away, and it's a struggle. You know, I also would like to do like some short kind of commercials with situational moments that goes throughout our everyday life. And so sometimes, you know, until you're put in the moment, you don't know how you would react. So if I shoot a clip of a certain situation, and then I want to share that situation with my audience. So who's right? Who's wrong? What would you do? What have you have done? Why would you feel this way? And we have a understanding. We communicate and show the love and kind of come to an understanding of what's the best way. Not saying one way is right and one way is wrong, but you may say something to affect my life forever. You know, and it's so many things, you know, and maybe just continue to expand. I would like to have a sports center for the high school football around here. You know, I need some more equipment. I need some supporters so I can go out and film these games live. If you can't make it to the game, I'll be able to film these games live. We can have a weekly podcast to show forth these young men and reward them for playing these sports and help these kids elevate and having more film out there so the colleges can see these things, expose them in the right way so that they understand that, hey, this young man is a good young man. This young man comes from a good family, a good community, and show community love and help prepare them off to college, you know, where they can advance in life, you know.
That's good. That's good. Did you play sports?
Yes, sir. I played for the Fighting Wildcats, man.
Okay.
Inside linebacker, number 22, baby.
Okay. Yes, sir. What else? What is your biggest flex?
When you say flex, you saying
like what's your biggest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment in life, I feel, is my obedience to God. Right now, I know 100% sure I'm right where God wants me to be. I don't completely understand it. You know what I mean? I know that He has prepared my heart to love. I believe that my incarceration, part of it is because of my disobedience and my stubbornness. But I didn't have to go to prison to learn what I learned now. But, you know, me and my stubbornness, you know, but throughout those 18 years, He has taught me how to love. I wouldn't be the man I am today without going to prison, because when you separated from everything that you love, you look at love different.
Yes.
You know, and not only myself, but those that were around me. You know what I mean? Seeing these young men, man, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so he prepared me for this moment, you know, and I know 1,000% sure that he told me to do this podcast. And my greatest flex is being obedient to God, being in the midst of what God has called me to do.
Awesome. Awesome. And you're doing a great job, brother.
All right, thank you. So at this time, I want you to look into this camera, sir. And I want you to tell my audience in the last words, I want you to make sure you mention your foundations. I want you to show on these hats, give them your information, how they can reach and contact you, and spread some love. So any last thoughts to my audience?
All right, this is Michael Webb-Cullen. Just appreciate the opportunity to be on here. Once again, check out the school, Firm Foundation Youth Barber Academy. Got a flyer right here. Basic information, just telling you what the school's all about. We taking ages 10 to 17. Next class starts September 10th, Sunday, 3 to 4 o'clock. Urban Styles Beauty and Barber Shop.
Located?
That's located 2620 Southwest 17th Road, Suite 100, Ocala, Florida, 34471. You can sign up if you're interested. You can call me at 352-426-7852. That's 352-426-7852. Or you can email me at firmfoundationyouthbarber@gmail.com. That's firmfoundationyouthbarber@gmail.com. Also, shout out once again, Urban Styles Beauty and Barber Shop. Come check us out. We got 4 amazing barbers in there and stylists in the back. Come check us out. Cullen Cuts and Designs. That's me, Michael Webb-Cullen. Come check me out. I'm in the building. Urban Styles. This is what we do, y'all. Firm Foundation. Pass the word. Get all the youth involved. This is a big thing. We're doing something that's a skill set that lasts a lifetime. Come be a part of it. And also, we take sponsorships for those that want to sow a seed into it and help somebody else's child to be a part of it. We take donations too. So yeah, we thank you. We're doing a lot of things. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. We're on both. You can see pictures. You can see videos that we post up of what's going on. We keep everybody in the know. But once again, like those pages, share the information. Hey, and if you can, donate or get your child part of it. Look forward to it. God bless you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live from the studios of TLC, Talk, Love, and Communication. I believe that all problems, circumstances, situations can be resolved through the proper channels of love and communication. Once again, we want to thank our special guest, Michael Webb-Cullen. Cullen? That's right. You know, if you love this program, you know what I mean, you can donate the Cash App. Anybody love you with a U. PayPal Robinson74William@gmail.com. Show some love. Once again, we want to thank our guests, man. I want y'all to come out and support these guys, man. Urban Style Beauty and Barber Shop, man, over on 27th Avenue in Ocala, Florida. We're showing a lot of love to this community, man. We got Cullen Cuts and Designs. Y'all go show some love. And if ain't nobody told you they love you today, William Robinson loves you.